So I'm Bethany Spurrier.
Maisy, Westwood.
And Eleanor Williams.
And so the two technological resources we're going to be looking at today are Storybird and ebooks.
So the first resource I'm going to talk about is Storybird. Storybird is an interactive site that can be used by both teachers and students to create their own storybook, which looks professional like the books they would use in the classroom once completed. There are many advantages and disadvantages to Storybird. Some of these include encouraging children to take an interest in reading by making their story look professional. However, as the website generates the pictures that are used by the user, this can limit children's imagination as they might not be able to see past the picture that's in front of them. Benefits to Storybird include introducing children to a new way of learning, as well as encouraging them to think deeper about what they are writing. In relation to children's progress, Storybird allows children to play an active role in their learning through the use of laptops, iPads or any technology that they might be using. Pictures can also encourage children to stay focused and keep their train of thought by keeping them interested in what they are doing. Progress can also be made as children are physically taking part in the lesson through the use of iPads. This links to Piaget's theory of constructivism, where he said children learn best through experience. Storybird allows children to do this through working with technology and learning through digital literacy. Storybird can also benefit teaching as well as progress, as it engages pupils that may not be necessarily engaged in a normal story writing lesson. It can also encourage team working and speaking skills around the classroom setting. This could be difficult if the school doesn't have enough funding for a laptop or iPad each for the children. In relation to the national curriculum, technology can be used to help children meet the aims. Storybird promotes the development of reading and listening skills in children. However, the spoken language aim of the national curriculum states that pupils should be taught to speak clearly using standard English. Storybird doesn't promote this, as the children type in their story and not read it out loud.
So the next resource that we're going to look at is ebooks. So the advantages of ebooks are that they are convenient, making it easier for the children to access at home. They're cheaper, so less expensive for schools and parents to have to purchase. They're more engaging because of all the features, such as they've got all the guidance for the teachers and the moving text and images. There's also adjustable font size, which means that the children can make it easier for them to read if it's too small, and should they have dyslexia, they can change it to a size that's comfortable for them. There's also a wider variety of books available online to match the individual needs of the children. So some of the disadvantages of ebooks is that they are quite distracting sometimes. The features on them, such as like zooming in and making the text larger, can be a bit distracting. There's screen time, so being on electronic devices all the time, this doesn't help, so like it can cause headaches and vision issues. Also, I said that some families may not have a device at home, so because they may not be able to afford it, so accessing at home may be a lot harder. Children may tend to skim read the ebook because they're focusing too much on features again instead. So here is an example of a good ebook. So as you can see, the text size can be altered to make comfortable reading. Here we have good quality images throughout, which makes it quite realistic and easier for the children to understand the story. This website loaded really quickly and it's from a reliable source. It also links in with the Teaching Standard 5 because the teachers have a clear understanding of the different children's needs and who struggles most with their spellings. And also, as you can see, there's some guidelines as well, and perhaps the teacher could do a lesson afterwards going over the spellings that they struggled with. So here's an example of a bad ebook. So as you can see, the text is really difficult to see. It's quite like boxy as well. The images aren't realistic at all. There's also no option for this ebook to be read out to the children. So for those who may prefer reading the book being read to them, this wouldn't be great for them. There's also no guidance at all for the teachers, and when the page is turned it makes a noise, so this can lose distraction for the children when they're reading. So the overall benefits to children who use ebooks, I said that they're multimodal, so it includes reading, writing, animation and sound. The children are actually learning as well from a technology device, so this will be more interesting for them and they're more motivated to read it. The children can also set tasks as well to challenge themselves, which links in with Bandura's self-efficacy theory and their belief in their own ability, which will start to increase the more they read.
Okay, so multimodal texts such as ebooks can help to encourage children who don't particularly like to read to enjoy a story. The different modes include pictures, animations, videos and sound, and they can be helpful for those children who do find reading difficult. Children may be less likely to lose focus when using an ebook due to excitement brought by the different modes, which I'll show an example of on the next slide. Rankin and Rickman compared interactive electronic texts that gave readers definitions of difficult words with printed books and the use of a dictionary. They found that children aged between 9 and 13 years old reading the interactive texts investigated more word meanings, remembered the meanings of more words, and understood more of the experimental text. So here's examples of the different modal elements that can help to maintain the focus. So here we've got sound. So as you can see, there's an option for the story to be read to the children. The audio can also help the children with the pronunciation of unfamiliar words. Picture, so the children are able to see what's happening within the story. However, a limitation of this could be that it can encourage children to be less imaginative and creative with their storytelling. And text, so the children are able to follow along and read while the story is being read to them. And then another element that is not included in this ebook is animations. So the animations can help children with learning new words and their meanings. So again, ebooks often include many multimodal features, which is unlike traditional print books. So this can make teaching more exciting for both the children and the teacher. Children who aren't interested in traditional print books may be more engaged through an ebook, just because they remove an element of boredom. And then this reduced in boredom can increase their motivation to read, and so therefore will allow for further progress to take place. And it's like within a classroom setting, reading an ebook would be done as a group task. So for example, all of the children sat in the classroom either the morning or the afternoon reading an ebook together on the interactive whiteboard. So here there's just a bit of a comparison between ebooks and traditional print books. So ebooks, they're available to view on many electronic devices, therefore making them convenient. They're interactive, so children can interact with the stories with the use of the hotspots. However, Schmidt and Korat believe that the hotspots where children can activate sound, video and animation are poorly designed for some ebooks. So this is a consideration that the teacher will need to make before introducing them to the classroom. Traditional print books. So reading is often described in the interaction between reader and a text. However, printed texts do not provide the ability to respond to the reader. And then De Jong and Bass found that when the book was read to them by adults, children had a better understanding of the story, and this is because the electronic version provided distracting features which then resulted in a loss of focus. In relation to the national curriculum, so teachers should develop pupils' spoken language, reading, writing and vocabulary as integral aspects of the teaching of every subject. So children can develop their vocabulary and build knowledge through the use of ebooks. And this is because as the story is read to them, children are able to hear the words that they may not be familiar with, which again helps with their pronunciation. And then this can widen their vocabulary and this can widen their vocabulary and therefore build their knowledge as children appear to remember the meanings of more words through the use of electronic interactive texts. Ebooks are likely to encourage the children to read with pleasure and therefore promote their wider reading, which is one of the aims of the national curriculum in the reading and writing section of language and literacy. Then the audio included in many ebooks can help the children to develop their ability to read fluently and understand extended prose.
And that's the end of our presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening.